Welcome everyone for a beautiful session of Daily Divine Wisdom. Today, we are talking about Right to Enlightenment, in which we will be having a 30-day challenge. As we can see that today is the 20th day, and we are moving towards the 30-day challenge. And one thing we're going to discuss today is science of attention. Science of attention, which is similar to the co-aim theory. So let's understand what is the science of attention and how that is related to what we are trying to do. So let me play this now.
Welcome to the simple neuroscience of attention. There's a lot going on in our world every day, all the time. Think of an airport with its thousands of travelers, each going in their own direction, food stalls with people eating and chatting, and the constant drone of flight announcements. The airport is going to be used as an analogy for the craziness of life as a whole for understanding the neuroscience of attention. Attention can be broken down into two types, top-down and bottom-up. Top-down involves conscious control from higher cognitive areas, such as the prefrontal cortex. This would be used to search a flight board for the gate of your flight. Bottom-up attention is an involuntary process where attention is caught by elements of the environment, such as looking to get out of the way of a cart with a blaring horn. Bottom-up attention functions to keep us safe from dangerous events by orienting ourselves to loud noises and bright lights.
Now, this is very important as we are seeing that, hey, if I would need to go towards, let's say in this map, we are planning to go, to the flight gate, and we are going to New York. When we go to the New York, our attention goes to New York, and we are able to say that, okay, it's a C20 is the gate we need to go to. Now we started moving towards C20 gate. We found out where is the exit of it, what's the direction looks like, and then we move towards it. Now, at that same time, what happens? The attention deficit comes in play. When we say the attention deficit comes in play, we start also to seeing Toronto, and then A4 is also coming in. And then at that same time, we are also thinking about, let me also go to Paris. So that's what happens when we have three or four things going at the same time. Our attention got diverted. And that is where the real problem comes in play. Attention is there, but in three or four things at that same time. So neuroscience now talks about top-down approach and bottom-up approach. That means top-down means what? When we know where we are going, what is our direction? Bottoms up means what? That when we start taking the journey towards New York, when we are going towards New York, then we reach, for example, Berlin. We say, let me stay here for some time. And that's what happens that, and then while we are going, if there is any obstacle, that is resolved using that.
Whenever our body does something to keep us safe and alive, such as eating, our brain releases a small amount of the reward hormone, or dopamine. People with ADHD have a lower natural amount of dopamine, and this means that every little dopamine released by the brain is a much bigger reward. So every little text tone or bird flying past the window or sound coming from the kitchen is similar to a blaring cart horn demanding attention. This is why it's so important to establish a distraction-free environment and to take frequent breaks and to reorient prior to starting work. So now we're going to play a quick little airport-themed attention game. So you have 10 seconds to find what gate the flight to Berlin is leaving from. Good luck. Did you find it in 10 seconds? If you did, good job. Let's talk about why having moving objects makes it harder for us to control our top-down processing. It's because there's a system called the tectospinal tracts that's part of the spinal cord, and its only purpose is to orient your attention to things that have the potential to be a threat, such as fast movements and loud sounds. And it's part of your spinal cord, so you can't consciously control it. So in order for you to focus on other things, the prefrontal cortex has to override this function. This is also why limiting distractions when you work makes it easier to get things done. So be kind to your prefrontal cortex and stop making it fight your automatic systems by putting away things that make noise or light, maybe like a phone.
Now, this is very important what we are talking about here. When we are trying to go someplace, we saw that this Berlin is C11, but now somebody says that, hey, at that point of time, hey, what's the gate for Montreal? We did not search for Montreal, so we will not get it. And then the problem which comes in is the attention deficit disorder. That means we are trying to do five things at that same time. Nothing is getting done, and we get distracted. And that happens because we want to do five things at the same time. Now, nobody's stopping us to do five things, but do one thing at a time with attention. Now, this is where Dr. Bhardwaj talks about this in beautiful way. Thank you. Let's take a look at what he's saying for today uh, in the Divine Wisdom. Dr. Bhardwaj. And material, which we are calling it here poem, how does it relate to the modern science? In what ways the poem aligns with the modern scientific principles?
Well, I would like to say that I mentioned about particle and wave theory, and then gravitational and magnetic fields. And each atom which is moving, electron, proton is moving into that. So the whole cosmos is a living entity. So this attention has to be understood, my dear. This attention has got all those abilities. It's rather all-knowing, all-pervading. And how that attention scientifically gets connected is particle and wave theory, which tells us that the behavior of the particle is intelligent. In the double slit experiment, this particle divides itself into two and passes through that double slit. It becomes a wave or a particle anytime, anywhere. So this is what is an intelligent behavior. And that is what has to be understood, that this is the behavior and this is the correlation with the scientific things. Science and spirituality is now getting, it is merging into it. The science has explained this. We have reached that place. So we got to go to the limits of intellect and then go beyond. So we have found out this, that the behavior of the particle is intelligent behavior. Then we look into the universal mind, which is operating the whole cosmos on certain fields. We call it as a quantum field, magnetic and gravitational fields. Weak and strong nuclear forces there, which are operating the whole cosmos in a predestined manner from Big Bang to black hole. So this is a scientific correlation of those forces which are running the whole cosmos in a rhythmic movement. And those gravitational magnetic fields even operate the sea here. On my earth, there's water. And through those gravitational magnetic fields, the water of the seas go high tide, low tide. And this is how the universal mind operates your mind. This is a scientific connection, that your blood, in your body, you've got 75-80% water in it. It also gets affected. Now the science is after it. Now all those equipments are being fixed up in India also. That LIGO apparatus is coming here. There is a LIGO installation in other countries. So this is how you are now studying about the gravitational magnetic fields and how they affect your blood to go through high tide, low tide, and trigger certain components of your brain. This is a scientific connection, that there are many portions in your brain dealing with lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries. Those areas get triggered. And that is what makes my moods swing. So this is how is a scientific correlation of your karma theory also here. Because the universal mind has got all that information. Every action has got an equal and opposite reaction. So some, Sometimes you talk about those cloud computing and whatnot. So all those informations are there. We are gradually creeping towards that. It is hardly 2 to 300 years of science. Now, the future is there that we'll be knowing all these areas. How that single cell in the human body works. It's a beautiful area to understand. And this is how I have explained the scientific aspects. And the last thing which I would like to say, the genetic code. It's something wonderful to listen to that. It may extend two, 3 more minutes on it, but I would like to say a single cell has got some information, that genetic thing, in the double cell, multi-cell, into different animals. So how many genes are connected percentage-wise from our ancestors, right from the single cell it's coming there. How much it matches with the monkeys, how much it matches with the apes, and then we become human beings. Now the doctor can see scientifically in my genes how much it matches with the parental sides, my father's side and from my mother's side, all their families. Anything there is reflected there in those genes. You can see it, that how it is engraved. Your attention, which is a capable force, uses the time and material and engraves all that information on the genes, which is available in your genetic code. Something fascinating to understand. And then we would like to talk in some other talks, about the genetic engineering, how mothers can really design their children when they are in the womb. That's the next subject. We may take it up.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Bhardwaj. So thank you, Bhardwaj, for your divine wisdom for today. It's great to have you here with us. So I would stop the recording right now. We'll have a practice session after